Did you know that the original PlayStation was so popular that games were still being made for it up to 2006, 10 years after it first released? You're listening to the Xbox Hub Podcast, the official podcast of the TheXboxHub.com. For the latest Xbox news, reviews, videos and opinions, make sure you visit the TheXboxHub.com. But for now, settle down, get comfy, and open your ears for some podcast delights. Hello and welcome to the Xbox Hub Official Podcast, episode number 49. My name is Gareth Briley. I'm going to be your host. And on my virtual left is Mr. James Burks. How you doing, James?
Good evening. Not too bad. How are you?
I'm very good. And on my virtual...
Good.
Oh, all right. Too much enthusiasm. On my virtual right is Mr. Edgar Wolf. How you doing, Edgar?
Hi, I'm good. Very excited.
Good. And on my virtual opposite, yes, there's four of us. We're doing a foursome. Is Mr. William Cariona. I've said your name wrong again, William. It's
Caruana.
Caruana. I've got a thing with William's surname. For some reason, I just can't say it.
Unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. I know, James. It's terrible.
You've been practicing all day.
I have. I've been practicing a minute ago. I asked him.
No worries.
So William's all the way from Canada, which is great.
Yep.
As well, we always forget to say. And we're here, and it's a Wednesday evening, and it's late for us, our normal podcast. And the reason we're here is because we've just watched 5 minutes ago the PlayStation event show with the big reveal. And before we go straight into it, I'm just going to go around the table and say, did we enjoy it? Edgar, did you enjoy it?
Yeah, very much.
Oh,
Loved it.
good. William?
I enjoyed the content of it. I wasn't necessarily enthralled with how they presented it. But
okay.
I enjoyed it.
Okay, we'll get into that. And James, what about you?
Yeah, it was all right. Nothing more, nothing less.
Well, that's the kind of insight we need on this podcast. Good. It was all right. Okay, good.
I mean, we need the contrast, right?
We do,
Exactly.
absolutely.
I'm here to bring the negativity.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
We're going to go right to the end. So we're going to start with the end of the event, which was a reveal of the actual pricing and a reveal of when it's getting released. And you gentlemen can correct me before we go into discussion. It's in our English pounds, it's going to be $449.
Yep.
For the console with a disc drive, and is it $349 for the digital version? We made that up.
Indeed.
And William, what's that in Canadian dollars?
I have no idea what's going to be here. It's $400 for the digital in the States, and it's $500 for the disc there.
Okay.
That being said, the Series X came in at $500 in the States, and Microsoft charged only $600, even though it's closer to $660.
Okay.
Like they were willing to take a cut here in order to make us happier.
Right.
So it remains to be seen if Sony's going to try and match Microsoft here and price at $600, or if they're going to charge for better, which the fair market value, and charge $650 here.
Okay.
It remains.
And so our release dates are for the UK. It's going to be the 19th.
Yes.
Of November, and for the States, what other countries? It's the 11th, isn't it, of November?
Japan, 12th.
12th. Okay.
12th. It's Japan, Canada, Mexico, Australia, New Zealand, and South Korea.
Ah, okay.
On the 12th.
So they're going to
Sorry, and this.
Go ahead,
Sorry,
William.
and this just came in hot from Jeff Keighley's Twitter, literally 20 seconds ago. Pre-orders start tomorrow.
Wow.
Ooh.
Yes.
Wow, there we go.
Launch title. Miles is a launch title. Pre-orders start tomorrow.
Right.
So, yeah, that wasn't quite communicated, but now we know.
Now we know. Brilliant. So pre-orders Thursday in the UK, tomorrow we can know. First of all, What do we think of those pricing? Is it what we expect? Now, first of all, it's also just to say, from what we see from the specs, unlike the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S, these two consoles are technically the same, just one hasn't got a disk drive?
Yes.
That's correct, isn't it? So, what do we feel? Let's start with Edgar. What do you think? Good pricing? What you expected?
Yeah, after Microsoft announced the prices for their consoles, I think a couple of days ago I wrote something in our Discord chat predicting the potential prices for PlayStation consoles, and I definitely said $449 for the regular PS5, and I'm pretty sure I also said $349 for the digital, so yay me.
You're on the money. And
Yeah.
what's the Xbox Series X again? I can't remember. How much is that?
$449.
Oh, so it's the same.
Yeah.
Right, fine. Good. So you're happy with those prices?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I heard rumors that after the Microsoft price announcement, Sony might be willing to undercut them, but I found it highly unlikely, and they didn't. But I think it's fine. Yeah.
I think it's probably, for both of them, the cheapest they can go to, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
William, were you happy with those prices? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. I was expecting $550 American dollars for the disc and $450 for the digital, so it was about $50 cheaper for each, which is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just based on what I was hearing behind the scenes in terms of how much it was costing to make this. So I think everyone's taking a loss on these consoles again. They didn't this gen, but they are next gen, which is good for the consumer. So yeah, so long as it's fairly priced in Canada, then I don't mind.
Do you think these are going to sell really quickly? Is it because we've had this rumor this week that Sony have denied that there was a shortage of maybe 4 million units worldwide, but Sony have said we're fine. There's nothing going on. Do you think it's going to be quite hard to get the console for people if they want it?
Oh, these are all going to sell out for sure. Even if Sony didn't necessarily cut, they didn't necessarily say either that they haven't delayed when they get those production shipments in. Like, there's a lot of unknown details here. But I think these are all going to sell very fast. I think the digital edition and the Series S are going to be the first to go. But it's get your pre-order in tomorrow. That's all I'll say.
Okay, James, what do you think? Are you surprised by the price? Happy with the price?
No, not really. But I'm quite happy with the price of the digital version because if it's the same specifications, it's a no-brainer. You'd go for that one, wouldn't you? At $399 or $350 over here. It's a bargain for a next-gen console. Yeah.
I think you're right. I think that's the first thing I thought. I think the Xbox Series X will be my main console, in a sense. That'd be the first one, and maybe I would get. And I think maybe I would get the PlayStation digital version. So, James, the big question to you now is: are you going to buy it at launch? Are you going to pre-order tomorrow?
No, but I am a little bit tempted still.
Right.
So at the moment it's a no, but you never know.
And
William, pricing for the digital.
Yeah, that's good.
Incredible.
And William, what about you?
Probably. Again, I think I set off the exact cutoff point at 600 Canadian for this. Now, so I think if it comes in at 600, I'll pre-order. If it comes in at 650, I'll have to reconsider. Just more info seems to be being revealed by the minute here that wasn't in the show that is more enticing. But I need to see.
Okay, and Edgar, I think you're going to get yours straight away. Pre-order tomorrow. I've got this feeling. Are you?
Nope.
No.
I mean, no. I will definitely get it, but not at launch because I want to see how it all pans out, first of all, and I feel like I can get more value out of my PlayStation 4. I'm in no rush in getting a new console right now, so but I will probably get it within the first year.
Good.
I'm definitely tempted by the what's it called? The regular PS5 with the disc drive. That's what I want.
Backwards compatibility. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this leads us on beautifully into the next bit, which is the games, and I think one of the big things for me was thinking about the Xbox Series X, and we haven't got really any kind of launch titles, but I've got into the idea. We have got launch titles, but I've got into the idea of playing these games that we knew were coming out on the new console. So I was expecting.
It's just Tactics, I think, for Xbox. That's their one.
Yeah. I was expecting maybe some more launch titles for the PlayStation, and I think let's go through them. But I think it was a little bit of a surprise, and you gentlemen can have your thoughts. So the first big reveal we had, of course, was a game that's not going to be launch title. It probably won't be next year. Might be the year after, knowing the franchise. Is Final Fantasy 16. It was rumored that was announced. And then we had this big trailer. Edgar, what did we see? How would you describe what you saw?
I didn't quite get what game that would be until I saw the chocobos. Because at first I thought, oh, is that Final Fantasy? And then I'm like, oh, the characters look like they're from Dragon Age. And then they show the chocobos, and it reminded me a lot of Final Fantasy 12. At least in terms of the story, like a lot of political intrigues and war. I don't know how I feel about it, but it's Final Fantasy, so it's probably going to be good.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm still playing through the Final Fantasy VII remake, and I'm really enjoying myself with it. So
I started playing it today again.
Did you? So, yeah, it's great fun. It's really good.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And the world's great. And I think more of that kind of next-gen Final Fantasy stuff I'm always good for. James, do you like it's all set in England, isn't it? It's not set in England, it's set in a fantasy world. It's a Final Fantasy world. But it has a very UK...
British vibe.
British vibe to it, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I've never really got into the Final Fantasy games. I've played a few of the spin-offs. But this one looks quite interesting.
Yeah.
I mean... Again, I've got plenty more to play before that.
Yeah.
So it's not top of my list.
It did look
good.
We got a little glimpse of some of the kind of gameplay, didn't we, of like some stuff and sort.
Yeah,
it looked really good. Ooh. Is it for me? No. Nope. No. Damn. Oh, stop. William, you a big Final Fantasy fan? William?
Sorry, just muting because of the phone in the back.
Oh, right, okay.
Yes. I am a fan of Final Fantasy Tactics. I think that's a fantastic series. Mainline is sort of hit or miss for me.
Right.
I will admit, I liked what I saw of this. I like that they seem to be going back to a medieval aesthetic, closer to 12, if my recollection is correct, and of course classic Final Fantasy and Final Fantasy 9. I thought that was very nice. It's a bit of a shame that it appears to be a timed exclusive or a full exclusive. They aren't really clear on that right now. But I think the majority of the player base for Final Fantasy has always been on PlayStation, so I get it. And yeah, no, it looks like it looks to be another action RPG, which is nice, and yeah, it looks very good.
I mean, this isn't going to come for a while, is it? We've had these announcements for Final Fantasy before, and it's been a couple of years. And there's no... Sorry, William.
I think they said 2021, or I might be misremembering, but it's Square Enix, it's a pandemic. I know that the Japanese studios have been hit harder for work from home. I don't think we're getting this till 2022 at the earliest. No. Just being honest. Yeah.
The next one on the list was a game that we kind of knew about, but it's the first time I think we've seen some gameplay. And James, tell us about what we saw. What's the game? I know I'm going to you.
Well, it's Spider-Man Miles Morales. And it starts off quite normal. You see him walking down the street. It's all Christmassy. It's lovely. And it looks like the game for me. but then it all goes pear-shaped. When I think I should name the bad guys, but they're led by the Tinkerer. And there's a big showdown on the bridge. I thought it really showed off how agile Spider-Man is. I think they really nailed that in this. It looks brilliant the way he moves from one move to the next. Yeah, I thought it delivered on the action. What about the bridge though? The bridge looked a little bit like a jelly on the plate. It looked very weird.
Okay.
Visually. But yeah, the action was really cool.
I think this is the thing is in the moment. I think when we're thinking about kind of new consoles and about how they look, I mean this year's PlayStation games from Final Fantasy VII to The Last of Us Part 2 to have looked really, really amazing. And so there isn't a huge leap for me. It looked amazing. Him walking through that Christmas market is brilliant because you're looking through that and you're seeing all these different colours, these different characters, all doing individual stuff, which some of these other games have done as well this year, more than anything else, I think. So, but I did think the kind of fluid. It felt very fluid. It felt very kind of interesting. I did like the kind of action Hollywood set pieces. Edgar, you a Spider-Man fan?
Yeah, it's probably my favorite superhero, so very much looking forward to this. And
this is a launch title. They said right at the end, didn't they? When they after they announced the price. So this is coming on the day.
And the PS4, apparently.
Oh, and the PS4, yes. It's cross-gen.
Okay.
So that's all right.
Yeah.
So that's why it doesn't really look like a next-gen game quite yet.
Yeah. Okay.
So funnily, the people who were saying that going, oh my god, the Xbox One is going to hold back all these games is all very quiet now.
Yeah.
It has next-gen features, though. It is ray-traced puddles. It does have ray tracing.
Absolutely.
It looks good.
It looks great.
I don't think it was necessarily the best showcase in terms of gameplay. You know, it was a lot more quick-time eventy and on rails, but in terms of a cinematic look, I think they're nailing it. And
I just could be quite happy to just walk through that market.
Yeah, me too.
I like that generally in games anyway. Just have a little wander around.
Yeah. Forget the suit. Just go around.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
playing games.
Exactly.
A normal day in the life of Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean that's why I enjoy the Final Fantasy VII at the moment. I just like kind of wandering around the details of the little bit stuff.
Yeah.
Next game. Can we go on because we've got a lot to get through?
Let's go.
Harry Potter. It's not called Harry Potter. It's called Hogwarts something. What's it called?
Like Portkey Games Hogwarts Legacy. It's a mouthful, but
yeah, okay.
But yeah.
And we saw William. You could describe what we saw for this one.
Okay, so this was primarily a cinematic look at the game. It appeared to be in-engine footage, and it seems to be going for a Western RPG style. It's set in the late 1800s, if my recollection is correct. And it's more of a sort of, think of an action Persona set in the Harry Potter world. That's what they were saying, like Jason Schreier and all them were saying it was behind the scenes, and this seemed to fit with that. I like the world. And they were talking, you get to raise creatures, you get to experiment with potions, you get to fight. It looks like the Harry Potter game I wanted when I was a kid. So,
and were there Harry Potter games that come out? I never played one on the 360.
Yes, there were, but they were EA-made crummy tie-ins. They were usually 3 hours long and not very good.
That's right. Yes, I remember.
Yeah.
It did look great. I mean, the moment they walked into the feasting hall with the lights and everything, it did look really interesting. Edgar, you excited about this one? I don't know why I'm laughing. You might be.
Well, judging by your laugh, you already know my answer. So
Why did I know? Why did I know?
you gave it away.
I did. I knew this before I even thought it was mad. You're not a fan?
I mean, no.
Fair enough. I mean, it's an interesting thing, isn't it? Is this a kind of more family orientated game? Is this what they're going for with this? Do we know anything about that? It feels like it is. It feels like that's the kind of market for it. It feels like from looking at it, you're playing as a pupil? Is that right?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
James, have you got more enthusiasm for the Harry Potter world?
I might have done about 15 years ago. I think it's done all it can do. I think they should move on.
I think it's a great place to have a game, though, isn't it? To have a game.
Oh,
world.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
And it looked
I think they
amazing.
missed the boat.
I think it's got a big draw still.
I hope it's good. Because it'll be fun to do the potions and the spells. But I don't know, we'll see.
It's not just in the school as well, is it? It did look amazing, and it's 2021, isn't it? That's
and it is cross-gen and multi-platform. So Xbox One, PS4, PS5, Series X and S, and PC.
Okay, good.
That'll be all right.
Great. That's that. That was that looked quite good. And then we had Call of Duty, which we do about Black Ops, Cold War. And then basically they showed a sort of mission running on the PlayStation 5 in the campaign in a sort of a big set piece, really, wasn't it? An aircraft crashing. Can you talk us through this? Were you excited by this one?
No, but I think it looked very good.
It did look very good today. I mean, they do, don't they? I always get a Call of Duty game. I never play multiplayer anymore because I'm just too old. But I always play the campaign through it. I always have a lot of fun on the campaign. And it always looks great, doesn't it?
Mm.
Yeah.
And
it looks like a lot of set pieces again. There's a lot of events and cinematics. It would be nice to see a bit more of the freedom that they were talking about beforehand. You know, it's something where you can choose to do something different. That all seemed quite predictable.
I don't think they need to do this. I know everyone kind of talks about this. I think the thing about it is the Call of Duty, you've got a kind of linear campaign with spectacle around you. And in your kind of, and the multiplayer gives you that access of doing what you want. No, I'm not saying that thing. I think I don't mind the on-rail stuff for them because they do it well.
That, but you should have showed off the new feature, the new ideas, because we all know we're going to get some great cinematics.
Yeah.
I mean, when he grabbed that guy and put a grenade in his mouth, I mean, that was a highlight for me. I'll not forget that one.
Right.
And the RC car.
Yeah, the little RC car. That was a good little move. Yeah. And it's going to look great on the kind of new generation as well.
Yeah.
But it's Call of Duty.
Yeah. It'll be fun.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Mindless fun.
Yeah, mindless fun. I am going to put one over to Edgar now because I know he's a big... you're a big Resident Evil fan, Edgar, aren't you? I made this up.
Yeah, it might be my favorite franchise.
Yeah, there you go. That's right. I've not made this up. And we had a bit more of a game we learned about last time, and it's Resident Evil Village. What do we see there? Anything new?
That's the problem. I think we didn't see much new of anything. They showed most of the same scenes, most of the same dialogues, some additional cinematics, I guess, a few story elements. They showed a brief glimpse of what looks like the merchant from Resident Evil 4 right at the end. But other than that, I would say it was probably one of the more like boring trailers in this showcase.
Okay. Yeah. I can understand that because it isn't. I can understand it because it isn't showing anything It was a CGI kind of trailer, wasn't it?
I don't quite understand why they felt the need to show it at all, because it was mostly everything we've already seen. I was hoping that they would show at least, like, I don't know, a minute or two of gameplay. That would have been nice. Nothing.
It was. I kind of liked with the village stuff the sort of fairy tale element they were kind of hinted at as well with the story, and they had that kind of bit was almost like a shadow puppet play. And I kind of thought, oh, this is nice, just a nice little tone. But yeah, we didn't learn much more. William, are you a Resident Evil fan? I'm trying to remember.
I'm not too well acquainted with the series. I'm gonna check out 7. I think they just added it to Game Pass. So
do that definitely. Yeah, really
7's great.
It's great. It's really good. James, I'm not even going to go to you because we know James is scared of everything.
Excuse me, I've played 4, 5, and 6.
Have you?
I'll have you know.
Have you?
Yeah.
4, 5, and 6 are the least scary games in the series, probably.
Yeah, 7 would terrify you. I think don't do 7.
Never.
Never. Yeah, but it's going to be. I mean, it's 2021. It's going to be exciting when it comes out, isn't it? So it's another big game next year. Deathloop is the next game on my list. There's another game we knew very much about, but we did see a kind of. Who wants to talk us through this one? William, do you want to have a chat through this one?
I'll be honest. I kind of zoned out during it for a bit.
There you go. You're not going to chat about it. James, do you want to have a little chat? Are you zoned out with this one?
I kind of took it in. Basically, you've got to assassinate 8 people.
Yeah.
In one sitting. If you get killed, you've got to start again.
Right.
I mean, I think it's a whole Groundhog Day theme. And it could be good, but I think it'd get boring quite quickly. I mean, we saw the different approaches that the assassin could take. But
No, I got confused about the time stuff. So he was doing 2 at the same time?
I think you lined it up so that 2 would be in the same place at once by learning the behaviour.
All right, I thought they were shifting.
If you then kill 2 at once.
Right, okay. I did get confused.
But then, at the end, it showed that there could be another assassin that's hunting you down.
Which we knew last time, didn't we? Yeah, got this other thing. Yeah, okay. Or is it is it a dual? Are you playing both characters in single player?
You don't play both characters.
I thought not at the same time. But you switch between no.
I don't know if it's definitely in the multiplayer though.
Okay, all right.
Take on the role of the other assassin.
I mean, this is going to be a holiday release, isn't it? And now they've moved it to Q2 in 2021, so it's coming pretty soon.
Yeah, it's a time exclusive, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, it is for you.
Okay. Yeah. I like the look of it. I like that kind of 60s spy vibe it's got. I like the gameplay. It looked great. It looked really vibrant and things flying everywhere. It looks a bit like Control mixed with Dishonored. Yeah.
It depends on the price for me. If it's a budget price, like 25, 30 quid, I think it might be worth a look. But they mark it up with the full.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, they put a full price on it. There's not much to it, really. It gets boring quite quickly.
Edgar, you must love this. You must give it a bit of enthusiasm. That the other two, one zoned out.
I will say that I think it's probably a better game than it looks like. I think the developers are finding it difficult to showcase the game in a fun way. Like it's one of those games that you need to play to really get into the groove and understand it.
Yeah.
I think it's that.
Yeah, I think that could be it. It's like the moment you start playing it makes complete sense. But it's really hard to describe. It's really hard to review when we have to review a game and describe it as well, how it works. But I have that with tennis.
Every game.
Yeah, every game. I can't describe it. So that's fine. Next game. Complete new game. That's a launch title. It's Devil May Cry 5.
Special edition.
Special edition. Who's excited about that? Yeah.
Me?
Go on, tell us about it. Get me excited.
I don't know why, but I guess you can stick Virgil anywhere in any trailer, in any gameplay showcase, and I immediately love it. And Virgil is pretty much the pivotal point in this special edition. So it's Devil May Cry 5, but from what I gather, you'll be able to play either the whole story or a different story as Virgil. I didn't quite get that part. I feel like it's probably going to be the same story, but from the perspective of Virgil. But yeah, I love Devil May Cry 5. I gave it a perfect score last year, so I'm excited for this. It's
a good looking game on this generation. So it'd be interesting to see what it will look like on the PlayStation 5.
Yeah, it's coming on launch.
Yeah, and it's I've played it, and I got to a certain point, and I really had a lot of fun, and then I've stopped. It's one of those games I've stopped about 8 months ago. But it's a great, the characters are great, the cutscenes are great, the gameplay's fun, isn't it, and exciting, and it's Devil May Cry is kind of strange. It's a real people fall in love with it, or just can't get on with it, just don't play it much. William, you a Devil May Cry fan?
I enjoyed what I played of DMC. I know that people don't seem to like that one as much, but I was playing it to play Ninja Theory's back catalog, and I liked it.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not super into the series.
Who's the woman who's the sort of Texan woman in the Devil May Cry 5 who sort of like has a van and is like the home base?
That's Nico.
She's great. Smoky.
Yeah. She's awesome.
Yeah, I really liked her. Good. Okay, so Devil May Cry, that's at launch. So we've got Spider-Man and Devil May Cry 5 at launch. That's the two launch titles.
Sorry, they've just announced. Prepare to hear this a lot. They've just announced a bunch of new launch titles.
Oh, what have we got?
So Astro's Playroom, which we know that's pre-installed. Demon Souls is a launch title. It's going to be $70, so they're upping the price. Destruction
Lord.
All-Stars is a launch title. Miles Morales is a launch title. Sackboy is a launch title. Miles Morales, Sackboy, Horizon Forbidden West, and Demon Souls, and the other one is escaping me right now. It'll come back to me, but those are all cross-gen.
Ah, okay.
Now, supposedly Demon Souls will come out first on PS5 and then later on PS4 and PC, but the rest of these are cross-gen. So, whole bunch of news coming out in the middle of recording.
Wow, that's good. That's exciting.
So then Demon Souls launch. Yeah.
Wow. And what did you say? Horizon? What was the Horizon one there, William?
Horizon is not a launch title, but it is a cross-gen title.
Okay. Well, the new Horizon Zero Dawn, the sequel one.
Yes, is cross-gen, PS4, PS5.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, the Xbox doesn't seem so silly now. Yeah. Okay, right.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's thank you, William. That's great. More updates are good. We might learn about the PS6 by the end of this.
Oh, I know.
Next one is Abe Odyssey. And it's not called Abe, obviously. That's what I've written down in my notes. It's called Oddworld Soulstorm, and that's got Abe from the world of that world. We didn't really see much more from this, did we? We had a little announcement from the developer. James, you know a bit about this? Did you?
I know nothing about this.
Who knows about this one out of you two? William?
Never played it.
Nope.
Edgar?
Nope.
That's good. It's bad to me, isn't it? Now I played the first one, and Neil, who is a Xbox Hub. What's the word?
Boss man.
Boss Man. That's good. We like that. He's a massive Abe fan, and loves the first game. And I was a big fan of the first game. And there's been lots of there's been sequels to the game. There's been whole different genres. There's a first-person shooter on the PlayStation, on the Xbox 360, and this feels very much in the same line as the first game when you're controlling the A, from what I've seen, but with kind of very super duper kind of like backdrops and PlayStation graphics and all the twinks and bells on it. But it looks like the same kind of essence of trying to guide your main guy Abe and all these people behind him and the slaves, and you're basically trying to get them through safety. It was almost like, do you remember Lemmings?
Like
The
Lemmings.
game? Yeah, a little bit like that, except they're not all just moving along. And it has that. It looks like it has that feel to it, and that's going to excite a load of people. And people love this kind of game and love the history of it. So it's a massive one. Did we know when that was coming out?
No, I don't think there's a window for that one.
They didn't say, did they?
No.
It might have said 2021. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I think it was something about 2021. Yeah.
Okay. Everything's coming out in 2021. Good. So that's not much enthusiasm from you three, but yeah, a lot of people are going to like that. I'm quite excited about that. Five Nights at Freddy's. What the hell is that? That scared the hell out of me. I don't know what it was. Tell me about it. Does anyone know what this is? What is that?
It's big with the kids.
Tell me about it, Edgar. I don't know anything about it.
It's a horror game. It's sort of like you playing a security guard, and it's set inside a Chuck E. Cheese. Do you have Chuck E. Cheese there?
No. I know
Yeah,
what Chuck E.
I know
Cheese
what it
is.
is.
I know what it is.
Animatronics and everything. Like,
Mm.
it's never been for me, but there's a market for it, and so I'm sure that made a lot of kids' days. You know.
Is it like a sort of like Hello Neighbor type game?
Yes. Yeah. Popular with streamers and popular with kids, that sort of thing.
Right. Yeah. I'm with you now. Yeah. Petrified me now. So we didn't really see anything of the game, did we? We had a sort of like a voiceover, and it looks like it showed the world, and then it had a scare at the end, but there wasn't much information, was there? There's no date or anything, was there?
No.
Let's move on. Let's move on to the one I really was excited about, and that is even more excited about it now, is Demon's Souls.
Yes.
And we saw, for people who don't know Demon's Souls first came out on the PlayStation 3, and it was exclusive to the PlayStation 3. And this is the remastered reboot, heavily of Demon's Souls. And we saw a whole bit of gameplay of the character moving through, getting a few enemies, getting to a boss, and then dying, and then the whole kind of like montage of the game. And it looked stunning, didn't it? I just think it looked amazing. Edgar, you're a big fan of this, aren't you?
Yeah, I love the original Demon's Souls. It's what got me into the Souls series, and I really like the look of this.
Yeah, and it just, the lighting, that it did feel like it's my only game. All the rest are great. This is the one I went, that looks a step up. That looks a real difference there.
Yeah.
Just the lighting was just amazing, and the kind of like the creature animation, just such a big difference from. And also when it came out on PlayStation 3, it was the best looking game, one of the best looking games there. I remember playing it first and feeling this looked amazing there. But yeah, James, what do you think?
It looks a bit too tough for me.
It's tough for me.
Tactical combat. That's not my idea of fun. I actually made no notes for this one.
Really?
I was that uninterested.
You've got to admit, it looked good, didn't it?
It did, but the gameplay just... I haven't got time for that. I want something easy.
Like, you're talking to me. I'm excited. You know how I just play easy level and that. But there's something about this. It's a challenge of it I really like.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be a good game, no doubt about it. But not my cup of tea.
Okay.
Yep.
William?
It actually looked a bit easier from what I saw. There seemed to be more one-hit kills, which is nice. I'm not good at Soulsborne games, but I really do want to play this one. I think it's probably the biggest selling point of all the launch titles.
I agree, yeah.
That being said, I was disappointed with Demon's Souls, not at all because of how the game was, but because my stream kept cutting in and out and dropping to 140p and then back up to 180 and everything, because I'm like, come on, it looks so good. They put so much work into this.
Do you know, William, my stream went was like that all the way through up until that point. It's the only time it kept itself on Demon's Souls, so everything else was a bit of a blur.
Really? Because for me, it was mostly fine, except for Demon's Souls and Final Fantasy.
Right.
So, I don't know, but when it was showing at 1080p, I'm like, oh my god, this is gorgeous.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Definitely one to see again in 4K when they re-upload.
I mean, now you've told us a minute ago that this is a launch title. Which is, and that's a big boost. It's weird that they didn't say that though, isn't it? After the trailer, because there was no date or anything, was there?
They had Jeff Keighley tweet it and then wrote a blog post 15 minutes later.
Wow.
I don't know why they didn't reveal what was coming at launch. Why they didn't reveal the pre-order dates, all of that in the conference, because it would have made the conference stronger, and this info is good. You know, it's awesome. We're getting Demon's Souls at launch.
Yeah.
Like I'd be shouting that from the rooftops.
Well, yeah, exactly, because you've got two launch titles. They've got Spider-Man and that. They're two new games.
And they've got Sackboy and Destruction All-Stars. That's 4 first party. That's 3 more than Microsoft. And they didn't say much. I don't know.
It's such a strange thing, isn't it? Really odd.
It's a really weird launch cycle for both this year.
Yeah. But that's really exciting. So $70 you said, did you? For Demon's Souls? Wow.
$70. So what's the current price in the UK for a game?
About 50.
50 maybe, yeah.
So it's going up to £60 there. They seem to be adjusting everything up $10. So that's $90 here for a game, which is that's a lot.
Yeah.
And
there was a thing by Take-Two today that came out, and the boss from there said, we haven't really had a price increase in games since 2005. And
they haven't.
And they were saying the production stuff has come out. It costs so much more to do. But
the hope is that increase will alleviate microtransactions and other things, and will go to more equitable and fair pay for the employees. But it's the games industry.
But they are making. No one's arguing the fact that, especially from Take-Two, they are making a lot of money as well.
Yes.
More than they probably did in 2005. So there is that equation as well. It's about,
far more people are gaming. It's 3 billion across the world right now.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
That's 30% of the population. So
yeah. No, exciting. That's really good. Can I go through a couple more things before I let you lot go? It's we had the other one, another new game, Fortnite. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's I think some
a tiny little thing,
little indie game out there.
Might do well, that one.
That's by the guys who did Bulletstorm and a little game called Gears of War. I don't know. Never played that one.
No. They've got that at launch. I don't know what that is. Can you explain to me what not what the game is, but why what have they got that's different from what it is now? And help me get out of this. I did zone out of that bit.
Probably nothing different.
They didn't say anything, but from what we've heard on the Xbox, it's double frame rates. So,
yay!
Fantastic.
I think it would do well. The thing that they announced was the PlayStation Plus collection. And from my understanding, and you can correct me, if you got your PlayStation Plus subscription, you will get a whole load of PS4 games on launch day. Is that right? So you can just have those from access. So you've got there God of War, you've got There's Assassins in there, isn't there? There's a Fallout game. There's Last of Us remastered, the first game. There's
Until Dawn.
Bloodborne.
Yeah, Bloodborne, Detroit Become Human, Persona 5.
Persona 5. Yeah. What do you think about this?
Guardian.
Last Guardian?
Last Guardian, yep.
Infamous.
Yes, Infamous. Yeah.
Battlefield 1.
Battlefield 1, yeah.
Yeah.
Battlefield 1.
I mean, I think this is a really great... It feels like if you haven't played any PlayStation 4 games and you're going over from Xbox, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Absolutely.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I missed out on the PS4 this gen. So, as someone considering jumping back into the PlayStation family, having those games, even though they aren't that expensive, Days Gone as well is in there. Like I can get a copy of God of War for $10, but that's still $10 I'm saving by doing this. And I don't think they're charging extra like PS Now or Game Pass. This is closer to games with PS Plus or games with Gold.
Yeah.
So, I think that is a nice little bonus. I don't see it really changing the tide in any significant way. It's not like when Microsoft started releasing games day one into Game Pass, which they do for all of them now. I don't think it's that big a hit. But by the same token, Game Pass Ultimate just got EA Play, and now PS Plus has a good back compat thing to it. These things don't cost anything else to the consumer, but they are nice selling points. So
yeah.
No.
I mean,
I can't complain. It's a free game.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've probably got all those games on my PlayStation from having a PS account anyway, But I think it's great. I think it's great if you're coming in new to it, or if you've somehow lost those games. It's good to go
or
back.
you never played them in the first place.
No, exactly,
I think they said that. I think the title that sold the most for PlayStation sold something like 20 million copies. That's still only a sixth of their adoption base. So,
exactly.
There's a whole other 100 million people who have never touched this, and that's awesome. Now they get to play if they move up.
Now, before we move on to the last one, let's move on to the last one. There was one more thing, as there always is. And Edgar, talk us through this.
Are we talking about the God of War thing?
Yes, you're meant to be building it up. And no, I'm joking. Yeah, of course, the God of War.
Because did they show anything? I saw a title screen saying Ragnarok something, and that's pretty much it.
Ragnarok is coming.
Yeah, that's it. And we had a bit of voiceover, didn't we? From the saying, be prepared.
So I thought that maybe I missed something and there was some grand reveal of God of War 2, but there wasn't?
It is God of War 2, isn't it? Is it?
Yeah, it is. It's the next one.
It's the next one. So
but that's just the title screen for God of War 2, not God of War 2.
But the other God of War 2, God of War 5.
So, when's that coming? That's coming next year, isn't it?
On paper.
On paper. Do you think it'll be ready for next year?
If they only have the title screen, then probably no.
And a little bit of voiceover? Well, maybe it is.
See, I'm getting really excited by this, because if they're sitting back going, well, all we have to show is that, then I'm hoping within my heart then that means that Fable and Hellblade and and Avowed are all coming, because they arguably showed more than this.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're coming either. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
no, if that comes next year, it's amazing. I mean, did you both, have you all played it? The God of War game?
I haven't. I played the original trilogy, but that's pretty much it.
Well, you'll be able to do it on the PlayStation. Have you played it, William?
No, I don't have a PS4. I have the original God of War games, though. They're pretty good.
James, you played it?
I've watched it being played.
Right, that's it. All of you get out. No, it's It's an amazing
game.
It's an amazing
It is
game.
fantastic.
Yeah, so I think for all of you to play it on the PlayStation 5, the first game, and then have that, that's really exciting.
Well, if we get one in PS Plus, then we'll be able to play it.
You will be able to, yeah. And it's that is
a nice bonus.
It's great for them to know that everyone knew it was going to come at some point, but to have that announcement for that. If you've got next year for PlayStation with that and the Horizon game as well, they're two big hitters for them.
It's first year.
Yeah. So let's go. Let's just sum it up. Good for PlayStation. We now know that we've got we now know they're coming out within a week of each other in the UK. Xbox on the 10th. Is the Xbox on the 10th? On the 11th? 10th or 11th? And the 19th for PlayStation. And they're both the same price for the main one. £100 cheaper for the digital version of PlayStation, and the Xbox Series S, which is a whole different thing, at $249. Let's ask that question to each of you first. Has anyone won this kind of first battle of the launches? If you had to say, Edgar, what would you say?
I think it's kind of difficult to say in terms of consoles themselves, because there are so many variables this time around. There's Series X, there's Series S, which is like a downgraded version of Series X, and PlayStation 5 has two different bundles. So in that regard, it's difficult to evaluate them all, but in terms of games, Sony is far, far ahead.
Do you think, Edgar? Do you feel that?
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
Okay. Do you think not now this year or for next year or for what it's planning?
Well, I'm going to judge by this generation. If Sony continues to do ahead of time what they did this generation, they'll be ahead. They already are. What Sony is doing now, Microsoft should have done for themselves, but they didn't, and now Sony's even further ahead, I think.
But do you think Microsoft have, with their buy-in of all those studios, their first-person studios, do you think there are? It's not happening straight away, but do you think they are planning for this? They want to be producing their own games like Sony did for this generation, for the PS4.
Well, they're definitely doing something right. They're definitely trying, but it's going to take a while until they release, say, Avowed and Fable, and we have no idea what's going to happen with Halo. I don't have a good feeling about that one. With Sony, we already know what to expect. We know there's Miles Morales. We know there's Demon's Souls, which is a big thing. There's Horizon, and even if it's just a title screen, but we know God of War 2 is coming. So that's a lot of games for a console that's not even out yet.
Yeah. William, what's your thoughts on the war, the raging war between the two consoles?
First of all, I just want to say this is the first console war, I think, in both of their histories that we have no clear-cut winner. The Xbox One reveal was a disaster, but that was only matched by the reveal of the PS3 with its $599 price tag and its giant, historically accurate enemy crabs, and the Xbox, when it was introduced, was absolutely trounced by the PS2. So I think now this is the most even we've ever seen them. In terms of software, PlayStation has an advantage in the first year, but they have also, in releasing many of their major games in 2020 and in 2021, means that further down the line, they are going to have to rely on third-party exclusives to fill the gaps. Whereas Microsoft is taking a far slower approach, which isn't necessarily great either. Like, again, they've got one launch title compared to the 4. Losing Halo was a mess. They put way too much faith into 343. But they are buying studios. We know that they're buying more right now. Like they said in their financial plans that they are going to. And where I think Microsoft takes this is in terms of value to the consumer. I think Game Pass is still the best value on the market. They're looking at alternative pricing arrangements through All Access in many major countries. They have the cheapest model by $100. They have the most powerful model, matching that of the flagship of the PS5, and it's significantly more powerful. So I think in terms of hardware, Microsoft is the winner here. And in terms of creating consumer value, Microsoft is the winner. But in terms of software, Sony is the winner. Now, how much this will matter in the grand scheme of things, I don't know. I mean, the PS4 really had a massive jump up in sales when Uncharted 4 launched, for example. So if Avowed is great, that could lead to a massive spike in the sales of Series X and Series S. And if Series S is priced reasonably enough, then having a bigger install base means more expensive timed exclusives for Sony, which means that we'll see a bit less deals like Final Fantasy 16. More people are going to want to bring games to both platforms, which is good. I think ultimately, when it comes to the first year, Sony is going to win, undoubtedly. And I think just by the sheer fact that they're producing more systems, I think in the long run, the gap that we're going to see is going to be significantly less than it was this generation. But there are certain markets where Sony will always win. I don't see Microsoft ever catching on in Japan. So I think their pivot, for example, with xCloud and other solutions for the Japanese market, and in particular South Korea, could be a really big boon for them. They've said for a while, it's been said for a while that these two are playing different games, and I think it's true. Sony's going to win. Yeah. They've always won. Even the PS3, which had an absolute disaster of a launch, and even then it sold everything, still beat the Xbox in the end by 1 million units because of Japan, because of the Middle East, because of South America, markets where Xbox just does not have a foothold. So Sony's going to win easily.
Good.
But
William, I like it. It's a good answer.
Put up the good fight.
Yeah, that's a great answer. Good.
And that's all that matters.
Exactly. Aren't we all winners? We're all winners. Yeah. Both. James, what do you think about that? Do you think we're all winners?
Still on my line. I was going to say that. We're all winners, yeah. I mean, it didn't have to be a war.
No.
People that can't afford next gen, Xbox have tried to make it more affordable. PlayStation have nailed it in the games. There's something for everyone. I think Sony are definitely ahead, though.
Yeah.
They've started on the front foot.
Yeah.
So it's up to Xbox to catch up, which they probably won't. But
they will.
as long as some decent games that we can all enjoy. That's all we want.
Exactly.
No matter what platform.
Exactly.
Let's all play together.
Yeah. So are we...
Xbox isn't a box anymore. It's a box. It's xCloud. It's PC. It doesn't necessarily even have to sell as much as Sony.
Yeah.
It's playing a different game.
Yeah. So just really quickly before we've got to go, Edgar, are you pre-ordering tomorrow?
No, as I said, I will probably order it sometime in the first year. I feel like I can get a lot of value out of PlayStation 4 still.
Good. Especially got to get God of War. Also, William, are you going to pre-order tomorrow?
Yes, Demon's Souls at launch just sold me on it.
There you go.
Yes.
James, pre-order it tomorrow?
No, because I've still got PS4 to play.
Yes, you have.
And PS3.
Yes.
Exactly.
I've got a lot of games.
A lot of games. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Where can we find you? If we want to get hold of you, Edgar, where can we find you?
As always, you can find me as Edgar Wolf on Twitter and Instagram.
Thank you, William. Where can we find you?
You can find me at DearVidGame on Twitter. I'm tweeting a bunch from the Toronto International Film Festival, and then I'll go back to tweeting about Xbox a bunch.
Brilliant. And James, where can we find you?
I'm on Twitter and Instagram at OKUKO, and I talk nonsense on both platforms.
And you can get me at GB Briley on Twitter or Twitch. But thank you very much, gentlemen. That's been really informative and really exciting. And we'll see you next week for the 50th
yeah.
Oh yeah, the big 5-0. And thank you, and good night. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Peace.
You've been listening to the official podcast of TheXboxHub.com. You'll be able to find all the notes of this show at www.thexboxhub.com/podcast. You can also check out our social feeds on Instagram and Twitter at The Xbox Hub, and search for The Xbox Hub on Facebook.